Hey Math Maniacs, it's Vanessa here with a warm-up Wednesday activity for you. Today I'm going to be sharing with you what we do in our class. It's called Fact Family Friday, mostly just because I like alliteration. However, I'm somewhat scatterbrained and we'll do Fact Family Friday on different days, and yet we'll still call it Fact Family Friday. All right, so this is a great activity to help students develop their understanding of fact families and the relationship between addition and subtraction. It also helps them develop some pre-algebraic thinking skills, which come in very handy, particularly at the grade 3 level in Alberta, when they have to begin solving one-step equations with one unknown variable. So this is how it works. We normally start, and I often get students to do this on whiteboards at first. It seems by doing it on whiteboards, it's less threatening. If people make mistakes, you just easily erase it. So we just start on whiteboards, and then eventually we start recording them in our math journals. So we choose the numbers that you're going to use for Fact Family Fridays in a variety of ways. It might be through dice, through cards, student suggestions, or sometimes I take the facts that I know that my students just aren't memorizing as much, and we'll do it that way. So for example, I often find this one is a tricky one for some of my students. So we might do 8 and 6, okay? So to get the third number in your fact family, you need to add these numbers together. So 8 plus 6 equals 14. You write that up at the top of the triangle. It is very important to keep that number at the top. So what's going to happen is we teach that by using 3 different numbers, you can always come up with 4 equations in a fact family. So this will not be the case if you happen to be using a number that's a double. So we generally do not do our fact families with doubles, at least in my classroom. So what we'll do is we'll think of 2 addition and 2 subtraction equations we can make using numbers 8, 6 plus 14. So the first one is 8 plus 6 equals 14, as we just did there. Okay, and I often will demonstrate this too if I'm in the classroom and have all my manipulators with me. We might have some counters, some red counters, maybe 8 red counters, 6 blue counters. Oh, and actually I brought counters home, so we'll show you that in a couple of minutes. Okay, so 8 plus 6 equals 14. Number 2, I could do 6 plus 8 equals 14. So, and one of the concepts you can really talk about here, and some of the vocabulary you can use, is the commutative property. And it doesn't matter when you're adding numbers, which addend or which number you're adding comes first. If 8 comes first or 6 comes first, the answer will still be 14. Now that's the case for addition. It's not the same for subtraction. So we also talk about, and this can be confusing at first for students when you're learning fact families. They'll think that you need to change the first number. So we try and drill it into them that you always start your subtraction facts with the sum when you add. So you always start with the greatest number, so that we'll always start with 14. The only thing that is changing is how many you're taking away. So if we were to go 14 minus 6, we would know that we have 8 left over. Or if we were to go 14 minus 8, we would know that we would have 6 left over. Generally what I do in the classroom is I would maybe do 2 or 3 of these together as a class with the students helping me fill them out. And then we would leave some numbers for the students to try on their own. I'd walk around, checking with them to see how they're doing with it. Like I said, they catch on to the addition one really quickly. If there's any mistakes, it has to do with the subtraction and with them changing the amount you're starting with. So there we go. We hope you've got a warm-up that you can try in your classroom or at home. All right, so as I was explaining with my fact family warm-up, we often start as a visual, and I do strongly encourage students as we're beginning out with this especially, they all have their own little bags of manipulatives, and for them to pull out the numbers too. So for the example that we're doing was 8 plus 6 equals 14. So we talk about, okay, how many blue? 8. How many red? 6. How many all together? 14. Or look it, we can now add our red first. So 6 plus 8, and guess what? We still have 14 altogether. If we know we have 14, but now we cover up and take away the red, how many do we have left? Well, we know that's 8 blue. Or we could have our 14, cover up our 8 blue, and see that we have 6 red left.